Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider a like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Lego birthday gift from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit and says, am I the arsehole for showing up my brother's girlfriend by getting him a birthday gift he liked more and not warning her I was getting a big gift. I, 25 female, have a twin brother, 25 male. Growing up, our favorite pastime was building Lego together. Our family couldn't afford it often, so the sets we had were treasured, and we'd always buy bags of loose bricks from charity shops whenever we saw them. It was a major bonding time for us making things together, and my brother claims that those days of playing Lego is what inspired him to go on and become an architect. It was our birthday on Friday, and we had a small thing with family. My boyfriend of 3 years, 27 male, was there, and so was my brother's girlfriend of 2 years, 24 female. During the gift exchange, we left each other's presents to last, as we always have, and opened our respective gifts. They were very nice and enjoyable. Nothing to complain about on either side. When we exchanged gifts, however, it led to some laughs and delight on both sides. I got him the Neuschwanstein Castle Lego set, and he got me the Notre Dame Lego set. He clearly loved his gift and was going on about how excited he was to build it and how he'd be spending his next day off working on it. He showed a lot more enthusiasm for this than the watch his girlfriend got him, though clearly liked that too. Since then, his girlfriend has reached out to me insisting I try to show her up deliberately by getting him a gift he'd like more, and how she was trying to treat him like an adult with her gift while I was encouraging him to be childish. She also thinks we somehow planned this gift exchange as we both got Lego for each other. I had to tell her no, it is just something we've always enjoyed together and it's just natural we'd do this. I also told her that I had no intention of showing her up, but if she really wanted to win the day with gifts, she should have considered his interests and not worried about what seems appropriate for an adult. She then pivoted to the fact that she is his girlfriend and I should have warned her I was getting an expensive gift. I pointed out my brother didn't warn my boyfriend, but she insists that doesn't matter, that I should have. Was I in the wrong for not giving her a warning and leading her to feeling shown up as a result? I've never felt the need to give warning when my brother dated, but maybe I should have. Ooh, bloody hell, there's a whole bunch of red flags here, right? Accusing OP of trying to show her up, calling one of his lifelong passions childish. That had me like, what the hell? What's wrong with Lego? I love Lego. And somehow try to twist it that the gifts were coordinated to embarrass her in some way. Nah, you didn't need to give her a warning at all and just bloody sod that. Hidden Fox Hollow says, oh please don't let her ruin what sounds like a beautiful birthday tradition. The fact that you and your twin managed to independently buy each other massive Lego sets is honestly magical and hilarious. It shows how deeply connected you two still are, which is exactly how it should be. I think it's absolutely wonderful too. Positive says, not the arsehole. Let's count the red flags. Girlfriend wants to be the center of attention even on her boyfriend's birthday. Her gift must be the best. It can't be enough that he enjoyed it. Now girlfriend is starting drama with boyfriend's sister over some birthday gifts. Coming up with conspiracies like how you guys planned the Lego gift, as if that would make any sense. If two siblings wanted to buy Lego together, they could just do that on any day of the year. They don't need to wait until her birthday. Calling a gift the boyfriend loved childish and saying her gift was meant to be more adult. That's belittling and insulting to both of you. It's giving narcissism and schizophrenia like my insanely mentally ill mother. That might seem dramatic, but let me tell you, it starts off with little things like this, and then it escalates. People like that, they create huge dramas out of nothing, especially if it's something that hurt their own ego. As a sibling, I'd make sure I'm there for my brother a lot, and that he doesn't get isolated by this woman. So I hope he does update the post. There's an update to my last post which you can find here. Shares the link and then says, I'd like to start by saying thank you to everyone for your comments, and like many of you recommended, I ended up showing the messages she sent me to my twin brother. I went around his today. It's his day off and he wanted my help making start on the set I got him. I'd have brought the set he got me so we could make them together, but since it lives at my place, it's not smart to try and move it back and forth. He's going to come to mine on Saturday to help me make a start on it. While we were working on it together, I admitted to him that his girlfriend had messaged me and that I was concerned as she doesn't seem to like his hobby with Lego, seeing it as childish and seems to find me as some kind of threat, which is weird and gross because seriously, that's my twin. I also expressed worry that she may try to sabotage the things he likes just to make him grow up. He asked to see my phone and I passed it over. He read the messages in silence and was quiet for about a minute before saying, and I quote, "Oh fuck no. and then pulled out his phone and began to message her. When I asked what he was doing, he said he was sorting it. When I tried to ask tell me what he meant by that, he just made noises to cut me off like he used to when we were kids, and he felt like annoying me. I managed to see the messages, and he straight up just told her that he saw the messages she sent me, and he wanted his key back, and she had until 8 PM to drop it off, and she was to put it through the letterbox and not bother trying to talk to him. If she didn't, he'd be having his locks changed. He then blocked her number. When I asked him if he was being a bit hasty and maybe he should talk to her instead, he told me he could forgive a lot of things, and they could have worked through her not liking his hobby, but no one talks to me like that or makes gross implications like that to me. He then refused to talk further about her insisting we keep building the set. I left about 2 hours ago, and I'm just sitting laughing about this and a bit amused by this whole mess. My boyfriend can't stop laughing over this, and he told me he was glad he never got on my brother's wrong side. Edit. Some updates that happened as I had to wait to have my post approved. My brother let me know she did turn up to return his key, but she didn't put them through the letterbox like he asked. At least not at first. She apparently stood knocking and shouting at the door for an hour before finally putting it through the letterbox, calling him all kinds of names through it as she did so. He was apparently just building his Lego set as she did this and kept turning his music up, so it was clear he was home, but he was ignoring her. On his way to work, he also dropped her keys in through a letterbox, so he wouldn't have to interact with her. I've asked him if this is being petty and maybe he should have talked to her, and he told me that yes, he's being petty, and if she wants to make him grow up, then he will be childish with her. I've also blocked his now ex-girlfriend as she began to message me, blaming me for this mess and asking me what I did. So yeah, this is what happened. Thought you'd all like this additional information. Commodore says, good for your brother. His girlfriend felt threatened by his sister. That is a huge red flag and shows how intensely insecure she is. I've been in a relationship with a woman like this, even married her. I was ever so slowly turned away from my own friends and family over her insecurity to the point I found myself in a completely different job, career field, living overseas when I began to realize how toxic she truly was. Your brother dodged a bullet here, and his life and your relationship with him will be better for it. And Cake Fool says, I think that was what broke the camel's back. I think she's been doing stuff and saying things about his hobby that he could work and talk through. She just stepped over a boundary by messing with you. I just like the way he went from, oh fuck no, to instant breaking up. I was like, what the hell? That's the fastest breakup I've ever seen on this subreddit, I think. Guy was just not messing about. What is it with stories like this where there's people policing about hobbies and stuff like Lego, oh you're too old for that, it's toys, etc. It's like, oh come on. They'd been together for 2 years. Surely this girlfriend must have known about his love for Lego at some point, right? So did she just think that she could change it? I just find that absolutely wild and not appreciating that he loves doing that and that is his love. Watching him do it, watching him enjoy himself, but instead trying to turn it into a negative. Incredibly wild. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story, it comes from Am I Overreacting subreddit from user Feel Like an Idiot 0, who says, Am I overreacting? Guy claiming to be my fiance's boyfriend texted me last night. Hi, I need to know if I'm in the right to be losing it right now. My fiance and I are due to get married in less than 2 months. We met each other at a mutual's wedding. The wedding was gender segregated, so she and her mum had met my mum, who then introduced us later. We then went out for like a couple of months. Like I'd pick her up from her place, she lives with her parents, and we'd have dinner and a movie or go painting, or go to the lake, etc. We're both Muslim immigrant families, so it was understood that we had to stay within some boundaries, but we genuinely really liked each other. She was the one who at one point said we could bring our kids here one day, and told me she was going to tell her parents she wanted to marry me, and she wanted to say yes to my proposal. We got engaged at a low-key family event in February. It's relevant to mention here that during that time I had respectfully asked her about her past relationships. I'd said that I know it's personal and there's absolutely no judgment from me, but as someone who, despite not being a great Muslim in a lot of respects, did abstain and save myself for marriage, would like a partner who had done the same. And it was a compatibility thing, not a judgmental thing. She didn't seem to mind and said no. She hadn't been with anyone, and I believed her. Since then, the wedding prep has been in full swing, and the two of us have gotten a chance to get closer. She's the one who's made more of an effort in our communication because, unfortunately, I work from home with an employer in the morning and have my cybersecurity business too, so time can be scarce sometimes. Our only argument has been her complaint that I don't make enough time for us. Some guy claiming to be her A in the text, boyfriend S in the text, texted me last night and even sent me pictures where they're together. He claimed that they were in a relationship for the last 2 years, that they'd been having sex and that they were in love, and I've been losing my mind. I've never put any pressure on her. Yes, I really liked her, but I let her make decisions at her own pace. If she wanted to be with some other guy, all she had to do was say so. In fact, not even, it was none of my business. She didn't even owe me any reasons, but just give me a straight no. I haven't picked up her call this morning. I've genuinely been feeling sick of duplicity. So there were some images added to this post, but they were transcribed. So the guy at 12:05 AM asks, is this A's fiance? A being OP's fiance, of course. OP responded saying, who are you? He said, are you A's fiance? With question marks. And said, I'm her boyfriend, so you can't marry her. And said, please tell her and her family you're not interested. A has been my girlfriend for 2 years. She only wants to be with me. We've been in love for the past 2 years. We've been dating for the past 2 years in secret. We've been having sex at my place for the past 2 years. She didn't tell you. She'll deny it if you ask her. The guy then sends photos of a seemingly close couple, which was redacted by OP in the post. OP then responds saying, who are you? What's your name? They reply, tell her and her family you're not interested please and end it. The guy just replies with his name, but I guess an OP's just saying S, and says ask her face to face about S, you'll know. Then question marks again. Look, you seem like a good guy, you'll find someone better. Me and A love each other. She's only marrying you because her family wants that. Question marks again. OP says, how did you get my number? The guy says, A gave it. Even if you marry her, we'll still see each other. I don't want to hurt you like that. You seem like a good guy. The sooner you end it, the less drama there will be. Question marks again. Look bro, I get this is tough, but ask her face to face and you'll know from her face, followed by question marks once again. Then says look, I have more photos but you understand, I don't want to share because as someone who loves her, I don't want to have another guy see those private intimate pictures of us. So people were asking in the comments. Someone said, sometimes when you download the image to your phone, it'll show you the location / date and time it was taken. OP says the original EXIF data has been stripped. No timestamps on when it was taken, or any GPS coordinates, camera information or anything useful. That was the first thing I did. Commenter says, my first instinct is this is not even a guy. This is someone trying to ruin your fiance, possibly a family member or rival. Another commenter says, this guy comes across as a stalker. Sounds like he wants her, but she doesn't want him, so he's trying to destroy a relationship with you to have a chance. Show her these messages. Ask her point blank who it is to her. Chances are he's someone she's blown off in the past, and he's got a creepy delusion. OP says thanks. I've lost a lot of sleep over this. I blew off on morning call. That was stupid, I know, but I wanted to get my head straight first. Commenter says do not accuse her. Just tell her some weirdo texted you and show her, and ask if she has any idea who it is. The most important part at this time is to not destroy the relationship with your fiance. If she is cheating, you'll find it out sooner or later, but you might not come back from accusing her of cheating, and then this weirdo has won. OP responds saying thanks. I'm going to be straight up with her and ask tonight in person. I tried to think this through and make my peace with it, like if she cheated or lied then our relationship was a sham anyway. She wouldn't have been the girl that I was looking forward to marrying anyway. A commenter says, please do it in a way that shows that you and her are on the same side, trying to figure out who is trying to drive a wedge between you. And if you're willing to break up with your fiance because she had sex before she met you, she will be better off. If your issue is her lying to you, that's valid, but I'm very familiar with the culture and can see how a woman might not feel safe sharing that with anyone. But I really think this is someone trying to cause problems and making up whatever lies they think will work on you. You're overreacting. OP responds saying, she would not have been unsafe with telling me that. It would have absolutely not left the two of us. If she thinks I would have, then why is she marrying someone who's apparently a sick individual? There wouldn't have been an iota of judgment from me. I really liked her, but I would have just taken it as a not meant to be thing. I wouldn't have judged her at all. I'm a pathetic Muslim myself, having been in relationships that just stopped short of sex. It was more about dating with hopefully marriage at the end. I would have laid bare all of it for her to gauge any compatibility busters on her end. If I'm being honest, if she had told me herself yesterday that there was some ex she had sex with, I would have just been like, whatever. Like, I love her now and I wouldn't have cared, but to just be okay with what would have been an everlasting lie. Anyway, I'm letting my brain run wild. Maybe he's full of shit. I'm going to be collected and approach this in a non-accusatory manner. Thanks. I just want to add, I'm sorry if my comments seem pointed. I'm not going into the conversation with her tonight on the opposing side. I am on her side. I was just responding to the implication that there would have been some consequences to her life from me, as if I would have let that information out if she didn't want it to. Sorry. Commenter says, why are you so eager to believe an anonymous stranger before talking to her? I think your reactions are weird. I'd be furious, but you're losing sleep thinking this is true. Opie says the photos seem real. The number checks out, and I'm working not knowing if I'm getting married in less than 2 months. What reaction should I be having until 7 when I pick her up? Commenter says, could the photos be AI generated? Opie says, I put the 2 pictures through an AI detector. Both of them were classified as real. For one, it said there was a 36% chance of AI. The other said it was 2%. I'm going to see her tonight and talk to her. Commenter says, AI detectors are not reliable whatsoever. Opie says, I know that. I know it could be AI and the detector could say 0%. It could be a picture I take myself and it might say 100%. I'll get my answers tonight. Like that's the only way. That guy kept saying, look at her facial reactions. I don't even know what the fuck that means, but apparently it's going to be a tell. I don't believe him, but I'll find out in person. Thanks a lot. Opie then added a mini update within the same post and says, just want to add, I know she's the one I should talk to, but I just didn't want to do it on the phone. I'm going to go pick her up right now. I'm not going to be accusatory. I just want the truth of it all. I love her, but like, if there's someone else and she's feeling pressured into this marriage, like I'm prepared to give her any reason she needs to end it. That works for her in front of her family. I'll be on her side like I was suggested here. So, at some point later, Opie does come in to update and says a lot of people asked for an update, so I thought I'd give one. I can't talk about it with anyone else because somehow I'm the one who ended up responsible for keeping her secret. My own crisis about this be damned. Like, it's taken me so much to not just contact and ask him straight up about what happened. I asked her if she knew who S was. He was right. I could immediately tell that the guy wasn't lying. She definitely knew. She said he was a guy she used to know, and I told her he'd contacted me and showed her the text. She said he was lying, and that she ended things with him before we met, and that they'd never had sex. I asked if there was any overlap between our relationships, and she only said when she went to meet him one last time to tell him it was over, because he wasn't taking no for an answer. I asked if the photos were real. They were. I asked her to be honest with me. Did she really have sex with him like he was saying? She was crying and swearing they didn't. They were intimate, and she regrets everything with him, but they didn't. She gave me her phone and basically forced me to confirm that there were no text messages between him and her recently while we've been together. His number was in her blocked list. She asked me to block his number, and so I asked if he was being honest about having way more intimate pictures. She said there were a lot more compromising pictures of her that she thinks he has, but swore that they hadn't had sex. She was crying and I blocked him in the moment. What else could I do looking at her? She was pleading with me not to reach out to him, and she was freaking out that he'd post them somewhere public before our wedding. At that point, I was trying to keep her from freaking out. I told her that would be illegal. He wouldn't do that, and so in the moment, I just stupidly promised to not contact him. I told her if there's any kind of pressure, like there's any number of excuses she could use regarding me to end this, that would save face for everyone, and be with whomever, like I'd get over it at some point eventually. Yeah, it'd be sad for a while, and we'll have lost some money, especially if the venue doesn't get rebooked at short notice, I think. But just have some mercy on both of us and end this now. She swore there was no pressure and that she'd been counting the days until the wedding, that she hadn't even thought of his name until I brought it up. She was like, he's doing this to prevent our wedding. And fine, I get that, but like, why does he sound more honest with me than she does? I really wouldn't have cared if I'd learned all this yesterday from her. Yeah, it would have meant she lied initially, but like, now we loved each other beyond that stuff. This was just her being okay with keeping me in a forever lie. That was wrong. I started feeling sick, so I just said I wasn't feeling well, and we cut it short. During the drive back to hers, she was almost talking like a coach, like, let's please forget about this. We're so happy together. We've discussed so many plans. Don't let him screw up our relationship. Like, I have my own mental breakdown over all this. What about that? She kept asking me whether I was fine. I said I was. I mean, I don't even know if that's a lie. I wasn't thinking at all. I've been going over the text, and I don't know how I can go into the wedding not knowing the answer. Like, it's so easily doable. I just need to ask him to meet up and have one conversation if he would. Honestly, it's more about if she's still lying about this. It's not about the sex, it's just about the trust. I know he's also lied because she clearly hasn't been meeting with him of late, and she really hadn't given me any reason to think of her as a liar thus far, but I could just confirm it so easily. It's sincerely about the respect of having been honest, not about the boundary itself. I love her. I wouldn't have cared if she told me herself yesterday, but it feels sick to contact him like that. Like that's not how it should be. I don't want to have to talk to someone who'd speak the way he was. I think I'll decide stuff by myself tomorrow morning about the future of our relationship. My mind is not going to work today. I probably won't give further details. I don't know how much more help I can ask for here, due to some immigrant culture context that might be missing. As much as I skated past it myself to a fair extent, I don't want to be stupid, but I don't want to be walked over either. Thanks. Commenter says, I think it's very fair that she's freaking out. As a woman, if any kind of pictures come out, it's bad. And especially if she does have a nightmare ex like this guy, she's probably very scared and worried. Opie says I totally understand that. It's sick what he did, like the way he approached me. Commenter says, if you think that, what is the point of reaching out to him at all? This dude got into your head to the point where you think it's stupid that you promised your fiancé you wouldn't reach out to him. It's pretty clear from the way you wrote this post and from the other one that this is not a good or honest guy. In your fiancé's own words, he wouldn't take no for an answer. I wouldn't entertain this dude anymore strictly on the basis that you can't trust anything he says. Opie responded saying to know if they had sex when they were together. The way she said she thinks he has compromising pictures. And the way he was claiming they did almost seems like there's literally a sliver of daylight between what they are saying. Also, just to clarify because I got some DMs. When I asked her this back when it was still the early days, it's not like I was fixated on whether she had sex before or not. It truly was a compatibility thing only. Like we'd asked about alcohol too. She said she'd had alcohol after long days, or especially she said after bad exams in the past with friends. But she didn't anymore and wouldn't be okay with her husband drinking alcohol. I've never drank alcohol. I was open about the fact that I smoked weed, tried shrooms and LSD in uni, but don't anymore. And she thought that was funny as long as I didn't regularly anymore and we moved on. Premarital sex was just one of those things on my end, purely because it was a line I'd chosen to not cross. So it'd probably be best if my wife hadn't either purely for compatibility reasons. I only asked about sex because I'm not a hypocrite. If I've had relationships which just didn't involve sex, they were relationships with an aim to hopefully end that marriage. I obviously wouldn't hold that as a boundary, but this was just one for me. But even despite all that, like at this point I was so happy until yesterday, that if she'd even point blank told me herself that she'd had to confess about having lied before, I would have taken it in stride, like whatever. It's just a potential lie and not knowing whether I'm being lied to. And the way he was fucking gloating, especially when there's a guy who's disgusting but apparently has the answer. Sorry this got long. Truly. A commenter asks, what kind of answer could you actually get from him though? He's already told you they had sex. She told you they didn't. He's already definitely lied to you about them continuing to meet, being in love and planning to meet even after your wedding. His intention is clearly to sabotage your relationship, so he's an unreliable source. I'm not sure what further clarity you would hope to get from him. If you contact him, he'll say they had sex. You still won't know if it's true. She's begged you to not contact him because he's obviously not safe. Whatever pictures he had would be shared without your fiancé's consent. I think you can understand that it's not ethically right to contact a woman's unsafe ex for intimate pictures she does not consent to being shared. That ethical boundary doesn't change just because it's your fiancé. You've said yourself that you were physically intimate with exes without having sex. From what I can tell, she likely had a similar experience with this guy and it was traumatic and she regrets it deeply. Whether she lied depends on whether you asked about only sex specifically, or whether you asked about previous dating relationships or other kinds of physical intimacy. You've seen her phone. You know she's been faithful during your relationship. I'm very sorry you've been put in this position. It's understandable to freak out, but it would be an ethical violation, a personal betrayal, and pretty useless for getting the actual truth to contact your fiancé's abuser whether you decide to proceed with the marriage or not. It's fair to take some time and reflect on what you need to do, but please make up your own mind about this without involving him further. Truly wishing you strength and steadiness in a situation that is painful for both of you. A commenter also says, also because Opie's position enrages me. Quoting, I think I'll decide stuff by myself tomorrow morning about the future of our relationship. My mind is not going to work today. I probably won't give further updates. I don't know how much more help I can ask for here due to some immigrant cultural context that might be missing. As much as I've skated past it myself to a fair extent. I don't want to be stupid, but I don't want to be walked over either, thanks. And then says, Incel 101. I'll decide. I don't want to be walked over. None of anything your fiancé has done is walking over you. Don't be a fucking worm. Here's a fucking thought. How about you two talk to each other about whether you love each other and want to get married? Jesus fuck. The thing that worries me in this update, and some of the commenters were touching on it at the same time, he keeps saying stuff like I'm on her side, but his actions don't quite match that. From the moment he saw a reaction, he says he could tell that the anonymous guy wasn't lying, and even after confirming she had blocked him, there was no recent messages, and she voluntarily handed over her phone. He still comes back to that one question: did they have sex? And the problem is, there is literally nothing the fiancé can say that he'll fully believe anymore. She says they didn't have sex, and then he says maybe she's still lying. She cries and is terrified about the intimate photos, which absolutely. And then he's basically turned it around to maybe that's because she's guilty. She gives him the phone, and then he's like, that only proves that they haven't been in contact recently. She's literally begging him not to contact the man who says wouldn't take no for an answer, and then he's questioning whether he should just contact him anyway. And it's all exactly what the person who was doing the texting wanted. He introduced just enough doubt that OP is now treating this anonymous stranger as someone who might have told the real truth. And the irony behind it all is that the texter has already been caught lying. He claimed they were still in a relationship, that she had given him OP's number and that they would keep seeing each other after the wedding, and that she only wanted to marry OP because of family pressure. And her phone and block list directly contradicted what was going on there. And let's say if OP did meet this guy, which I seriously hope don't happen, the guy is hardly going to turn around and say, actually mate, I was just exaggerating. He's going to double down, of course. That's the whole point of what he's bloody doing. He's already got OP on the hook. And I gotta say, from what I'm reading here, I feel for the fiancé. Imagine finally escaping someone who wouldn't take no for an answer, only for him to then mess up your engagement with a few messages. And I don't blame OP for initially being shaken about this. Having someone contact you, sending you pictures, etc. It's going to knock you, of course. But if it reaches to a point where this ex's words is carrying more weight than his fiance's, then there's already big trouble there, isn't there? But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think is going on in this situation? What would you do if it was you? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly, absolutely amazing. And I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.